Abdul al-Hazred cursed the luck that led him to this fate. He would die in a hot, stinking tent, tormented by the nerve-wracking cry of a baby in yet another tent. Al-Hazred had been traveling the desert alone, his camel laden with the plunder he had found in various forgotten tombs. He proved a tempting target for the bandits who stalked the oasis. They had ambushed him as he crossed a dune and sank an arrow into his left side, just below the ribs. He cut his treasure pack loose and flogged his camel like a madman, seeking to escape the thieves. The desperate plan worked. The bandits ceased pursuit to gather Al-Hazred's goods, and he rode on until the camel dropped dead from the many arrows it had received. Al-Hazred had wandered for 2 days, weak and delirious. Then, as night fell, an outrider for a nomad tribe found him. The man spoke in a language that Al-Hazred did not understand, but he carefully lifted him into the saddle of his camel. Al-Hazred's delirium cleared a bit, and he realized he was in a small nomad camp. This tribe of desert folk was unknown to him, clothed in bright silks but carrying archaic weapons of bronze instead of iron or steel. They were kind in their fashion. They apparently had no method to treat Al-Hazred's wounds, so they provided him a tent that he would at least die in some comfort and privacy. The wound exuded a foul odor, and with each breath he could feel the sting of the barbed arrowhead. For certain, this hot night would be his last. The moon reached its zenith, and a cool breeze whispered through the nomad camp. A woman stood at the flap of Al-Hazred's tent. She was tall and dark of hair, clothed in gossamer robes that concealed nothing of her icy beauty. Speaking his native tongue with a strange accent, she asked his permission to enter, and he gave it gladly. She spoke softly. "Would you desire to live, Abdul al-Hazred? What fool does not?" Al-Hazred replied, wincing with pain. The dark woman pointed to a quill and roll of fine parchment. "Record my tale in the olden runes, for I know you as a sorcerer, versed in such things." Al-Hazred winced as she dipped the quill into his oozing wound, inking it with his blood. The dark woman began her story, and Al-Hazred wrote every word. Pain and fear of death forgotten, replaced with wonder. The dark woman told Al-Hazred of the early days of man. She spoke of the wondrous place those first people were given, and how the crimes of a few caused that place to be taken from them. The worst of the disobedient ones were cast out, cursed and forgotten by the light, doomed to wander the night forever, becoming monsters and breeding monsters. She spoke of demons who dwell in forgotten places, named them as Tutwagwa, Koth, and Hareb-Na. These beings gave the outcasts arcane secrets in exchange for the blood of men. She spoke all through the night of wars and monsters and sorcery that burnt the old world to cinders. The moon was almost gone when she finished her tale. Alhazred's life was fading fast, and he feared the dark woman would betray him. But she caressed his cheek with an ice-cold hand. "Fear not, sorcerer. This is not your time to die." She struck faster than a cobra, driving her fingers into the wound. When she pulled them free, the dripping arrowhead was in her hand. The dark woman smiled, and for some reason it terrified Alhazred. She spoke once more. "Rest now, and take my story back to the land of men when you awake," and left the tent, silent as a panther. Alhazred awoke at midday. His wound had closed. He was weak, but he could stand. The camp was quiet. Even the noisy baby had apparently decided to nap the day through. He stumbled to the nearest tent. He would thank these people and be on his way. No answer came to Alhazred's hail, and so he peered into the tent. Alhazred recoiled, ran to the next tent, and then the next. But in each he found the same thing: skeletons of a tribe long dead and forgotten.